We've watched another movie and we're not dead yet. This is the Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Brian and I'm here with Justin and Ben. This episode, we watched the movie Memento. It was a 2000 movie. And who has something good to say about this movie?
That's telling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can start. Just so you know the format now, we spoil movies first and then we give you our ratings. So if you don't want spoilers, there'll be a tag in the bottom you can click on and just skip to the ratings if you haven't seen the movie. Yeah, this movie, for me, I'd seen this movie before. I think everybody but Justin had seen this movie before. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think from literally from start to finish, it's gripping. I think that the acting's great. I think for me, what I enjoyed the most, like rewatching it now, it's been probably, like I was thinking about it, it's like probably been 10 to 15 years since I've seen this movie. I think rewatching it now, it feels very like authentic filmmaking to me. Like it feels gritty, it feels raw, but it feels really well developed. So it's not like, it doesn't feel overly cinematized. It doesn't feel like, I feel like even like very basic action movies or very basic thrillers are very over the top now, very gruesome, very they want to have you on the edge of your seat, but sometimes they do it a little over the top. This one's like a little subtle, I mean, not subtle, but it feels subtle comparatively to like newer movies. I think the acting's really good. I think what I enjoyed as a fully grown adult, right, is watching back and being like, oh, I forgot they were in this movie, because that you just don't see some of the actors and actresses much anymore. And so yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good watch. I'm glad that I got to revisit it. I also think, this is my final point, I also think this might be my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Like I think this probably overshadows any of the Batman movies he made, really anything he's made since. I think that this might be my like number one for Christopher Nolan movies. So
I feel like that's a hot take, but I do respect it. I do like it.
It's definitely a hot take. I mean, I think a lot of people would disagree with me. I think Memento is well loved, but not as loved as what I just stated. Like I think most people hold the Batman trilogy in very, very high regards comparatively. So yeah. Who else has got thoughts on this? Good or bad?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Go for it.
The man who'd never seen it.
The man who'd never seen it. And the weird thing is, because of the it's not a thumbnail, because of the cover art of the movie, or the poster, is a dude with tattoos without a shirt who's kind of skinny. I think I always get confused with, is it the mechanic? The one
machinist.
With the machinist. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. Mechanic's a whole different movie.
And Christian Bale's a whole other Christopher Nolan actor.
Yeah, exactly. But it gave me the kind of the same feel, because I thought that's the movie we were going to watch. I didn't know if this was the Guy Pearce movie. I thought we were going to watch the Christian Bale movie.
Real quick question: have you seen The Machinist?
Also, no.
Oh wow. Okay.
But that's probably why I've got him confused.
Yeah.
I don't know why. These are the first Chris Nolan movies that I've seen. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, it's the most. It's the first when I became aware was Dark Knight with the whole Heath Ledger thing. But
okay.
But no, I really this movie was really interesting to me, because I like movies that twist the traditional plot of a movie that goes from A to B and tells you a story. Yeah. What I love about Quentin Tarantino movies, to sort of not segue, but kind of sideline it a little bit, is that he does that, like Pulp Fiction, where he pieces things together, he plays with time.
Right.
And I feel like because of the story, which I found was really interesting because of the mental illness. That's not a mental illness, is it?
No. Well,
I don't know if that counts.
I think it would be more like a genetic disorder or something of that nature.
Well, it was a traumatic event that caused him to. So it's brain damage, but I don't even know if that's kosher to say anymore.
Yeah.
But so like with that being like the mechanic for him to survive. Like the tattoos, everything was really interesting.
Mhm.
Did it always work? Did it always make sense? Not necessarily. And I feel like there were some things that were just kind of like easy write-offs for the story. But because he told it backwards, I think it was good. I think it was okay to do it that way. Could not get a handle on who the bad guy was, which is usually a really good thing for me. Because usually within the first 5 to 10 minutes, I can tell you who the bad guy is, and I guess right with like 98% accuracy. That might be too high, but I feel like a lot of not great movies or mediocre movies, you can usually tell who the bad guy is. I don't like when they throw a bunch of red herrings in, but this didn't feel like red herrings. It felt like
no.
It
It's
felt
part of
like,
the plot
oh
line.
shoot, is she the bad guy, or is she like is she manipulating his illness to get all these guys killed because she wants to take over the drug business or whatever? I'm like, there were so many different reasons why I was thinking that that this guy's the bad guy, or this guy's the bad guy, or this guy's supposed to be the bad guy. And I love that. I mean, the end of the story was the first thing you see. So I don't know. I thought it was really interesting the way that they played with time and going backwards.
Yeah. I super love to piggyback off of both of your points. I super love how they play with time in this movie. The thing that I really like about it and what I really respect about it is almost every movie that you see, they have to keep something secret from you so that they can reveal it. When they're telling a story, there's like a payoff. There's like a big resolution moment. And some movies accomplish this by like letting you in on the fact, but the characters don't know. So like you can see behind the scenes, and then sometimes they hide it from you. And this movie, by playing it backwards in segments, you're basically giving us memory loss because we don't know what has happened before the scene. And so you're doing an excellent job of, I haven't given you this information, just like he doesn't have this information. And so you have to piece things together. And the story changes, obviously, as you get the full picture. You start to piece that together and see where we came from and where we went to. It's also cool that they start segmenting. You have a past scene, and then you have a present scene, then you have a past scene, and you have a present scene, and they always alternate until they meet in the middle. And then they signify when they meet in the middle by when the black and white turns into color, and now you're along for in the middle of the loop, which is actually pretty cool. I think it's very what do I want to say, experimental. I think it could have gone really wrong, but this is my type of movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I love how they accomplish this. I had the same thought as you, Justin, where it was kind of like, there's a moment in this movie where you're like, is anybody this guy's friend, or is everybody just taking advantage of him? Like, does everybody just treat him like garbage? Once they learn about his disability, he's getting double charged for the rooms. He's getting he's drinking beer that everybody's spit in the bar, and he has no idea that he is. I mean, like, everybody seems to be taking advantage of him at every turn. And so you start wondering, who is the bad guy here? Like, what's happening? Who am I rooting for here?
Yeah. But I also think going back to Justin's point about like who is the bad guy, right? I think you could also argue that he also is. I think everybody in the film is, if you think about, because there's that line where he's sitting in the cafe in the original, like in one of the first scenes where he's sitting in the cafe with, I can't ever remember her name.
Trinity from the Matrix.
Trinity from the Matrix, basically, yeah. And he's like, and she's basically asking him like, are you sure this is the right person? And he's like, it doesn't actually matter to him, right? Like he basically alludes that he doesn't care if it's the right person or wrong person, whether he forgets or not, he is out for vengeance. And so there's this reality of like, there's actually nobody that's good in this movie. Like everyone has their own bad reasons for why they're doing it.
Right.
And even so much as so is like at the beginning of the movie, when you see him shaking away the picture of the evidence of him killing him, which would mean he won't remember, which means he'll start the loop over potentially, going and looking for another guy,
a brand new
killed who killed his wife. So it's like this wild mind trip of like there is nobody in the movie that you can actually
Yeah.
you can connect with him, but then by the end, you also kind of lose connection with him in some ways. It's like this, it's great. I mean, it lived up to, like, having not seen it in so many years, it really lived up to just how good of a movie it was when it came out. I mean, when you think about that movie came out in 2000, I looked it up. It had a budget of like less than 10 million. Less than 10 million. It made 40 million.
They only
on
had
opening.
what, like 5 sets?
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, and the
without the cars.
And you didn't have a ton of huge name. I mean, you had big name actors, but like you didn't need a ton of them. You only need like a few.
Yeah, Trinity, and you had Cypher.
Oh,
that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, yeah, it really was.
I also think
Justin got me thinking there about the bad guy scenario.
I also think rewatching this, I've seen this movie several times. I don't think maybe 5 times I've seen this, but you start to notice little Easter eggs. One of the lines that he delivers in the movie a couple different ways is that memory is not reliable, but like notes and tattoos and like writing in your own hand is. One of the Easter eggs that they throw in there is he gets the tattoo of the license plate so that he can remember the tattoo, and they read it back multiple times. But if you notice, his tattoo has a 1 as the second to last character, but he reads it as an I every time he says it out loud, even though it's the number 1. So even his tattoo is unreliable, and it doesn't match the plate that they run or anything.
But he completely follows his instinct. Because of the illness. He's like, what was his name? Sammy or whatever, the guy that didn't exist or did exist or
potentially existed.
At one point, I thought it was going to be revealed that he was Sammy.
Well,
but with that whole thing, he's like, but I'm not going to be like Sammy because I'm going to follow my instincts. I'm going to trust the process. And
Sammy didn't have a system, but I do.
Information. Yeah. It's like every day he was a different character in a small way.
Yeah. I really love this movie. I do think in some ways, the more you think about it really as well, is it's not just his memory is gone, but also that like it almost fractures off as if he has created other personalities that you don't actually get to see or know. Like we don't know who was real. You know, these quotes he's coming out with being like, oh, you know, so-and-so used to say these things. Well, we don't know if that person's real or not.
Yeah.
I mean, we
can't
don't.
Tell. And he's created so much. Like when he hits his tipping point, like this is the ultimate spoiler, but at the end of the movie, he hits a point where he's like, I'm so mad at Teddy/John G, the detective who's been helping me, the only guy who had sympathy for my case, but is now taking advantage of me and making me feel mad. He immediately changes his whole paradigm where he takes a picture of his car. He takes a picture of the Jaguar and says, that's now my car. Takes the license plate down of Teddy's car. Now that's my new target. And he sets himself up, and he knows, you know, as soon as I lose my memory, I'm going to be chasing this dude right here. And I chose to do that. I'm setting up my own spiral. And we don't know how many times they've done this loop before, finding other John G's making money. And we don't know how many times he's going to do it after, but we do know he's setting himself up to chase his own tail again. And it's kind of dark because, you know, like you said, we don't know by the end of the movie. You're like, I don't know who I'm cheering for because he became so desperate. He's literally making himself his own worst enemy again. So,
absolutely.
I think it's a really well-made movie. I think the concept is super, like, maybe it's in its own head a little bit for some people, but I love it. I love this movie.
Yeah, I do think that's where, like, I just know as I watched it, I just thought there are some people who within the first 10 minutes have lost the plot already and aren't going to sit around to watch it and gain the plot, which is really sad, I think. But I also think you could argue that with almost any Christopher Nolan movie outside of the Batman movies. And maybe I think he did Dunkirk, which I never saw Dunkirk. Like, but you could argue that for a lot of, like, Interstellar for sure runs into that. You can run into a lot of movies where, like, he just, if you're not willing to sit and envelop yourself in it, you're going to miss the point probably, which might be part of the genius of him.
It's going to be like Inception and you're lost 4 levels down.
Yeah. So are we ready for ratings?
I think so. Let's jump right into it. Justin, you missed last week, so let's start with you on the ratings.
let's hear your rating on this movie, since you also you hadn't seen it, so we want a fresh rating here.
I'm gonna go. I feel like there should be a drum roll.
I don't have drums, but
I'm gonna go with a 9.5.
all right.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to do a 10, but I'm gonna do a 9.5.
I'm
Okay.
also gonna give it a 9.5. It's my highest rated movie so far. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. And the humor of it all, as much as I love this movie, I'm at a 9.4.
All right.
I think I'm just a harsher grader in general, but
For
yeah,
sure.
I love this movie. It's very, very high up for me. I think it's fantastic. So
All right, with two 9.5s and a 9.4, the average is 9.5. So
yeah.
that
Definitely.
tops our movie
Is that our
list.
highest movie?
Mhm.
Is this
Yeah.
my middle? Is this my middle rating? Because you
Yeah.
were saying this is your highest rating, Brian. I
Yeah.
think this might
It's
be
my
middle-
highest rating as
I've got
well.
like 2 or 3 10s or something.
You have,
I think you have 2.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's get another one. Hopefully another good one. Like that one brought me a lot of joy and excitement. Like I think Brian texted us like the end of last week and was like, haven't had time to watch it. You know, can we record next week? I'm like, I've already watched it. Like I was ready to go. That one was exciting for me. So
Yeah.
Every episode, after we finish our other movie and give ratings, we roll for a brand new movie. This week, we have 1,228 movies remaining on the list, and our random movie will be number 958.
so we're close to like
1990s.
Yeah, 1990. I'm going to say 93.
Good guess. Justin,
I
guess?
think I'm like 100% on this.
90
Wait, what?
93.
Like what year?
I said 1993.
1992.
1997.
Crap.
The Butcher Boy. 1997, The Butcher Boy.
All right, I'm going to look it up.
Let's check a
1997
rating
film.
on this guy.
Yeah, for sure. The Butcher Boy is a 1997 Irish black comedy film directed by Neil Jordan. The film was based on Patrick McCabe's 1992 novel of the same name. It's about a 12-year-old boy who retreats into a violent fantasy world to escape the reality of his dysfunctional family.
This is a comedy, you said?
No, I said it was a black comedy, which means dark comedy, morbid humor, gallows humor, dark humor.
I feel like that means something else in the United States.
Possibly. The film won Silver Bear for Best Director and the 48th Berlin International Film Festival. So I don't want to give away any more than that, but it sounds like we might be okay. I don't know what the rating is, though. So
It's rated R. And I don't see it streaming anywhere for free. It does look like it's available for rent on Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube. So we'll do our best to find this. And yeah, this might be a pass if its material is too dark or whatever. But as for right now, we'll continue forward.
All right.
But if you haven't, go watch Memento. Be like me.
Yep.
And just not watch it for your whole life.
Yep.
Go watch Memento. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's well worth the watch.
If you need a recommendation of what to watch before you die, this one is the top of our list so far. So it's definitely a watch. So go get it. Go watch it.
Go get it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Double salute because I missed one.
Double B's.